Hello and welcome to the eSkill webinar, How to Improve Culture with Assessments. We're going to be letting quite a lot of people in today, so make yourselves feel comfortable and we'll get started just a couple minutes after the hour. Welcome to the eSkill webinar. Make yourself feel comfortable. We're going to get started just a couple minutes after the hour. Welcome everyone to the eSkill webinar, How to Improve Culture with Assessments. We're going to get started here in just a few minutes. Please make yourself feel comfortable. Welcome to the webinar. We're going to get started just about 2 minutes after the hour. We're going to give folks a little bit more time to file in because we've had so many people excited about this webinar. So make yourself feel comfortable and we'll get started soon. Welcome to the webinar. We're excited to have you. Make yourself feel comfortable. We're going to get started about 2 minutes after the hour. If you're just joining us, welcome. We're excited to have you. We've got several hundred people joining this webinar, so we're going to give everybody a few minutes after the hour before we get started, so make yourself feel comfortable. Good morning and welcome. This is the eSkill How to Improve Culture with Assessments webinar. If you've just joined us, we're excited to have you. We're letting a few more people into the webinar, and we're going to get started just a couple minutes after the hour. Hello and welcome to the webinar. We're excited to have you. We're going to be talking about culture today, and we're going to get started just a couple of minutes after the hour. Welcome to the eSkills How to Improve Culture with Assessments webinar featuring Nicole Peek from Pacifica Trucks. We are excited to get started in just a couple of minutes. We've had a huge demand for the webinar, so we're going to get started just a couple minutes after the hour so that we can give everybody a chance to get settled. There's been a tremendous response to this webinar, so we're going to give everybody just a couple more minutes to get settled, and then we'll get started. We're going to get started in just about a minute. Hello and welcome everyone. This is the eSkill webinar, How to Improve Culture with Assessments. We are excited to get started. Please make yourselves feel comfortable. So today we have Nicole Peek, Director of People and Culture with Pacifica Trucks. She is an amazing person. She joined Pacifica Trucks in 2013 as an office or an HR manager, and she has single-handedly helped Pacifica's HR department grow from scratch, and she is a mighty department of one. She focuses not just on HR, but on culture and connecting employees and advising management and executive teams on handling various labor and employment issues properly. She continues to develop meaningful programs for the Pacifica team to help them grow in their careers. So in this role, she's done just about everything, and she is a wealth of knowledge. We're excited to have Nicki with us today. So if you've joined this webinar, the chances are that you've struggled to hire and retain great employees who reinforce and promote your culture. This webinar is going to teach you how Pacifica and specifically Nicki have done that at Pacifica Trucks. She's going to share how she leveraged eSkills behavioral assessments and skills tests to improve recruiting and retention, and most importantly, reinforce their culture and their service to their customers. Pacifica Logistics differentiates its logistics services by focusing on industry expertise and connected digital technology across the supply chain. And we know that there have been supply chain issues in the last few years coming out of COVID. Pacifica's staff operates in a highly integrated and technologically advanced environment, enabling it to be a reliable service provider across the Western US. So, Nicki, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you, Sheila. Hello, everyone. I'm Nicki, and I'm happy to be having a conversation with you today on how to strengthen company culture through assessments. I've been working in HR for over 15 years now. I kind of fell into this career path by working for a series of small startup companies where most of the employees have to wear multiple hats in order to keep things moving. During this time, I found that my love of being around, working with, and helping people could be utilized most effectively in the human resources world, and it kind of became a passion of mine. I recently earned my SHRM Senior Certified Professional designation in February of 2022. As Sheila mentioned, I joined the team at Pacifica LLC in 2013. Pacifica was actually founded in January of 2004 as a long-haul operator of refrigerated goods. In 2006, we signed and executed concession agreements with the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, as well as interchange agreements with ocean and railroad carriers. Our founder believes in the rapid technology changes required to meet today's business demands, which is where eSkill assessments came into play at our company. So when it came to hiring, especially during times where there were far more people looking for work than there were jobs available, we would often get hundreds, if not thousands, of candidates for each job that we posted. Most often, at least a third to half of these candidates appeared to be qualified and comparable to each other when screening applications. A candidate's education and experience provides indicators about what they have done, but they do not do much to help you understand the extent of their abilities and their level of proficiency. Additionally, a resume is certainly not going to tell you what a candidate brings to the table in terms of culture and diversity. So we came to the conclusion that we needed a solution that would help us differentiate highly qualified candidates, as well as eliminate implicit bias. For those that you don't know, implicit bias, sometimes also referred to as unconscious bias, is one of the biggest hiring challenges, but it's also the least visible. An example of implicit bias is known as the halo effect. The halo effect occurs when we develop an overall positive impression of someone because of one of their qualities or traits. After research and due diligence, we decided that we would begin utilizing an assessment that focuses on observational, problem solving, and critical thinking skills, rather than the hard skills required for the role that the candidate is applying for. And this is where eSkill came in. With eSkill, we had the ability to use ready-made assessments or to create and customize our own depending on our needs. So we decided to build our own test by picking the most relevant individual questions from their content library to build our assessments. And we wanted to make sure that the test was challenging, but not impossible, as well as broad-ranging and focused on the key traits that we were looking for. We built several tests to start, and then we deployed the test to a diverse range of existing employees that we felt were high potential and strong culture adds to our organization. And this helped us to validate and select the test that best reflected the knowledge, skills, abilities, and competencies that we were looking for. Pacifica has been partnering with eSkill since 2015. And with us being able to utilize the available assessment through eSkill's platform, it's proven to be a great recruiting tool for us and has helped us to provide with an additional angle on someone's suitability and potential to be a strong culture add, which is extremely important at our company. And beyond this, skills testing has helped with employee retention after hire by helping to identify candidates who are strong culture add for our company, good matches for open roles, and who are more likely to be successful at their jobs over the long term. And as we all know, there are significant costs in hiring the wrong person for any given job. Testing has helped us make better hiring decisions, strengthen our company culture, establish strong workplace diversity, and reduce turnover in the process. And lastly, it's incredibly helpful that the candidate scores are sent to us immediately upon completion. This enables us to get through the recruiting workflow faster, which in turn helps to improve the candidate experience. In closing, before any questions, I would like to thank Sheila and everyone at eSkill for providing this opportunity to speak to you all today. Culture and workplace diversity is something I'm very passionate about, and I'm thankful to everyone who attended to hear this presentation.
Thank you, Nicki. We're so excited to hear about your experience with eSkill and developing the culture. What do you think some of the impacts to your culture have been after going through this process since 2015?
It's been kind of an evolving process, honestly. We started off with certain types of tests. As our culture evolved, we evolved the tests as well. Two of the most important things for us are attention to detail and logical thinking, which you will not be able to see on a resume. So we pay close attention to those scores, but there's other types other types of assessments that we give as well, such as verbal reasoning, leadership, that type of thing. We actually developed 3 different tests, one for associate level, one for supervisor level, and one for management and executive level. And they have a very different kind of combination of assessments in there. So that we know what we're looking for. And it really has helped us differentiate candidates, that look kind of similar on paper, so that we can get an idea of how they fit into our culture, not only fit into our culture, but add to our culture, because it's going to be important to us, not to just, shove somebody into a spot, but also to add, because we love diversity of thought, So it's been very helpful to us.
Can you give us an example of how a candidate has added to your culture as a result of what you've seen in the assessments?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, when, like I was saying before, we love diversity of thought. So there might be different ways that a candidate will offer for or answer, for example, a text question, right? And I love seeing an answer that I've never seen before, because that's where you come in with diversity of thought. So if you have everybody thinking the same way, you're always going to be going in the same direction. But if you have diversity of thought, you're going to get a lot of different ideas, and it might send you off in a direction that you would have never gone before. That's actually a better direction for the company. So I love that kind of that kind of back and forth.
That's such a great example. For our webinar attendees, you can put your questions in the chat and I'll be happy to relay them to Nicki. So Nicki, talk about how the culture of the company has changed since 2015. I know you've been growing like crazy.
Yeah. So when I started back in 2013, we only had about 20 employees, and that was including our drivers. Now we're at about 72. We've gone as high as 80. So obviously the culture changed quite a bit from a very tight-knit group to a wildly diverse group of people. But it's been really great to kind of see that growth and to kind of foster a culture that surrounds that type of diversity. So, it started off as kind of a group of people that were all, kind of thinking the same way, to bringing in a lot of diverse people. And it's been really wonderful to see that kind of diversity change the culture at Pacifica in a very positive way. We've gotten a lot of information that back when we were 20 people, we probably wouldn't have thought about. So, and we have people that have no experience in the industry that come in here and flourish, and we have people that have years and years of experience in the industry and flourish. And the people that are new to the industry are oftentimes the one that teach the people that have been in the industry for years and years new things, right? Because they just have a different way of looking at things.
Yeah, that's amazing. So for your founder, your founder is a really passionate person who had big goals for the company. What's been his feedback to this whole process?
He loves the skills test. In fact, he puts a lot, he depends a lot on those scores and on the answers that these candidates are giving. That's usually the first thing that he asks for is, okay, yeah, I see their resume, I see your interview notes, but let me see the skills test, So that's usually the first thing he asks for. If there was ever a time where a hiring manager tried to skip over the skills test to get to their hire faster, he would immediately make them go back.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned your both your hiring success and your retention has improved. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, we actually went from probably about a 52% turnover to 0% turnover. I mean, obviously there's going to be people that leave eventually, to move on to other things, but within a quarter of implementing the skills test, we saw a reduction of 52% turnover. As of right now, our turnover is probably at about 3%. So I do believe that the assessments have really helped us hire the right people for our culture and retain those people once we have them in place.
That's exciting. So what's it been like to work with eSkill?
It's been very easy, honestly. It's extremely user-friendly, the platform. We do have a rep, so if we ever have any questions, they're very quick to answer and they're very quick to help. But honestly, I haven't really had to have a whole lot of conversation with the rep because the system is so easy to deal with. It's so easy to try to figure out how to build tests. They have ready-made assessments where you can just deploy an assessment that's already there, or you can build one and customize your own. We chose the customization route.
That's great. And so you mentioned your dedicated client success manager. If somebody had questions, you said they got back to you really quickly. Do you mostly communicate with them over email or phone call or
Yeah,
both?
pretty much always email. And I usually get a response from her within probably 20 minutes.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's great. So for any other company who's thinking about using assessments, what would you recommend if they were trying to use them to help improve their culture?
I think that the first thing that you need to do is figure out what type of candidate that you're looking for, right? What type of incumbent do you want in these roles? And then once you figure that out, then you can kind of decide, is there a ready-made assessment that I can deploy that would, kind of let me hone in on that candidate? If not, then it's very easy to customize these assessments so that you can pick and choose questions within different subjects and categories. And then there's even ways to set up like passing scores and things like that. I would highly recommend assessments when it comes to hiring. It's very, as anyone who does hiring knows, it's very difficult to kind of differentiate candidates that look the same on paper. Assessments will definitely help you do that.
Right. And I think culture is something that every company is thinking a lot about. Younger members of the workforce don't tend to stay in positions as long, and they do tend to stay if the culture is something that resonates with them. And so more and more, it's important to think about your company culture and how you can make sure that people feel welcome, feel valued, feel like as Nicki said, their ideas matter. And these skills tests and behavioral assessments or cognitive assessments can be incredibly helpful in reinforcing the questions that bring out whether they would be a fit, and then also reinforcing the kind of culture that they will see when they get to the company. So Nicki, you've just done a phenomenal job as a powerful person of one running HR and culture for Pacifica. You're really an inspiration, and we so thank you for being a part of the eSkill family and for sharing your wisdom with the rest of the group here. If you have any questions, you can reach us at eskill.com. If you are new to learning about assessments, you can request a demo of the eSkill platform. If you're an existing client, we're just excited to continue working with you. We really value you as a part of the eSkill family. So with that, we will wrap up this short webinar today. And again, Nicki, thank you for leading us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Have a great day, everyone.